The struggle for Pakistan's independence was not a simple political movement, it was a historic transformation that changed the map of the world. After nearly a century of British control, the Muslims of the Indian subcontinent found themselves politically marginalized, socially divided, and economically weakened. Despite living together for centuries, Hindus and Muslims had fundamentally different cultures, philosophies, and social systems. In this growing political tension, Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah emerged as the most powerful voice of the Muslims. His leadership, intelligence, and unwavering determination became the backbone of the independence movement. Throughout the 1930s and 1940s, the British government repeatedly failed to provide constitutional safeguards that would protect the political rights of Muslims. The Congress leadership insisted on a united India under their dominance, while the Muslim League strongly argued that Muslims were a distinct nation with unique religious, cultural, and political identity. The turning point came with the Lahore Resolution in 1940, where millions of Muslims across the subcontinent united under one demand: a separate homeland called Pakistan. After years of political negotiations, tense roundtable conferences, and countless discussions between the British, Congress, and the Muslim League, the situation reached a breaking point. Communal riots erupted in Bengal, Bihar, and Punjab. The subcontinent was in flames. The British Empire, exhausted after World War II, finally accepted that maintaining control was no longer possible. They announced that British India would be divided into two independent states. As the date of independence approached, millions of families prepared for an uncertain future. On the 14th of August 1947, Pakistan was born as a sovereign nation, but independence came with one of the largest migrations in human history. Trains filled with refugees crossed borders, thousands were killed in riots, towns were burned, and families were separated forever. Despite the tragedy, a new spirit of hope filled the air. Pakistan had only a few government buildings, a tiny share of the army, limited resources, and almost no industrial base. Even the capital, Karachi, had to be built from scratch. Yet the people of Pakistan were united. Quaid-e-Azam told the nation that no power on earth could undo Pakistan. His message of faith, unity, and discipline became the guiding principle of the new country. Government institutions were set up, the national flag was raised, and Pakistan began its journey as a new state on the world map. Despite challenges, the spirit of independence gave Pakistan the strength to move forward and build a new future.
The country inherited almost no governmental structure, very limited financial resources, and a massive humanitarian crisis. Over 7 million Muslim refugees arrived from India, many of them walking for days without food or shelter. Entire families had lost their homes, their businesses, and their livelihoods. Karachi, the first capital of Pakistan, became the center of relief efforts as trains packed with refugees began arriving daily. The newly formed government struggled to provide housing, medical assistance, and security to millions who were fleeing violence across the border. Administratively, Pakistan had to start from zero. India kept most of the civil services, financial reserves, and military equipment. Even the trained officers who belonged to Pakistan were scattered across different provinces in India. The government had to hire new staff, create ministries, establish courts, and set up police forces within months. The four major provinces Punjab, Sindh, Northwest Frontier Province, now Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and Balochistan each had unique cultural and administrative realities. Unifying these regions under one federal system required strong leadership and careful planning. Economically, Pakistan received only a fraction of its rightful share from India's treasury. The British and Indian officials delayed payments, pushing Pakistan into severe financial hardship. With no proper communication network, limited transportation, and almost no industrial infrastructure, Pakistan faced a crisis that could have broken any nation. Yet, the spirit of unity remained strong. Volunteers from across the country helped refugees settle. New towns were built. Trade routes were reopened, and the government began planning for long-term economic stability. Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, despite his illness, provided unwavering leadership. He addressed the Constituent Assembly, urging the nation to follow the principles of faith, unity, and discipline. His speeches shaped the identity and direction of Pakistan's early years. He emphasized religious freedom, equal citizenship, and national responsibility. With his guidance, Pakistan slowly established its first institutions: State Bank of Pakistan, Pakistan Railways, national ministries, and early defense structures. Despite all odds, the nation survived its most difficult era and laid the foundation for the future. As Pakistan moved into the early 1950s, one of its greatest challenges was forming a stable political system. The country did not have a constitution at independence, and governing required strong legal and administrative frameworks. The Constituent Assembly began working on drafting a constitution, but political disagreements repeatedly slowed progress. Debates lasted for several years and created friction among political leaders. In 1956, after nearly 9 years of struggle, Pakistan finally adopted its first constitution. The country officially became the Islamic Republic of Pakistan with a parliamentary system. The constitution recognized Islam as the state religion but guaranteed freedom for all religious communities. It also established federal and provincial rights, a structure for national governance, and responsibilities for the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. This was a major milestone for the young nation. Despite this progress, Pakistan continued to face political instability. Frequent changes in prime ministership, power struggles within political parties, and tensions between civil and military leadership weakened the system. Economic challenges, refugee settlement issues, and administrative inefficiencies made governance even more difficult. By 1958, the situation had deteriorated to the point where the military intervened. General Ayub Khan imposed Pakistan's first martial law, marking a turning point in the country's political history. Many saw the military takeover as a temporary solution to the chaos, while others believed it would undermine democracy. Ayub Khan introduced reforms, encouraged industrial growth, and strengthened foreign relations. However, the absence of democratic institutions created new tensions. The decade that followed would shape Pakistan's political landscape and deeply influence its future direction. Pakistan's early decades were marked by multiple conflicts with India, beginning with the 1948 Kashmir War. When independence was declared, the princely state of Kashmir was expected to choose between India and Pakistan. Despite its Muslim-majority population, the ruler acceded to India, sparking the first war between the two new nations. Pakistan's forces and local Kashmiri fighters captured large areas, but the conflict ended with a United Nations ceasefire. Kashmir was divided, and the issue remained unresolved, becoming a central point of tension for decades. In 1965, tensions escalated again. Skirmishes along the border turned into a full-scale war. Pakistan's military displayed remarkable bravery, especially in battles like Chawinda and Lahore. The nation stood united, and patriotic spirit filled the country. The war ended with the Tashkent Agreement, but political tensions rose inside Pakistan, eventually leading to Ayub Khan's resignation. The most tragic chapter came in 1971. Differences between East Pakistan and West Pakistan grew over political representation, language, and economic disparities. The election of 1970 intensified conflicts, and violence erupted in East Pakistan. India intervened militarily, and after a brief but intense war, East Pakistan separated and became the independent state of Bangladesh. These wars shaped Pakistan's foreign policy, military development, and national identity. They highlighted the need for stronger unity, better leadership, and strategic stability. The events of 1948, 1965, and 1971 remain deeply influential in understanding Pakistan's modern story.
Pakistan's early decades were marked by multiple conflicts with India, beginning with the 1948 Kashmir War. When independence was declared, the princely state of Kashmir was expected to choose between India and Pakistan. Despite its Muslim-majority population, the ruler acceded to India, sparking the first war between the two new nations. Pakistan's forces and local Kashmiri fighters captured large areas, but the conflict ended with a United Nations ceasefire. Kashmir was divided, and the issue remained unresolved, becoming a central point of tension for decades. In 1965, tensions escalated again. Skirmishes along the border turned into a full-scale war. Pakistan's military displayed remarkable bravery, especially in battles like Chowinda and Lahore. The nation stood united, and patriotic spirit filled the country. The war ended with the Tashkent Agreement, but political tensions rose inside Pakistan, eventually leading to Ayub Khan's resignation. The most tragic chapter came in 1971. Differences between East Pakistan and West Pakistan grew over political representation, language, and economic disparities. The election of 1970 intensified conflicts, and violence erupted in East Pakistan. India intervened militarily, and after a brief but intense war, East Pakistan separated and became the independent state of Bangladesh. This loss was a painful moment in Pakistan's history, leading to deep reflection and major political changes. These wars shaped Pakistan's foreign policy, military development, and national identity. They highlighted the need for stronger unity, better leadership, and strategic stability. The events of 1948, 1965, and 1971 remain deeply influential in understanding Pakistan's modern story.
After the tragic events of 1971 and the separation of East Pakistan, the nation was in shock, both emotionally and politically. At this critical moment, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto emerged as the new leader of Pakistan. Bhutto became the president and later the prime minister, bringing hope and confidence to a broken nation. His government focused on rebuilding national pride, restoring international relations, and strengthening Pakistan's economy. Bhutto introduced major reforms such as nationalizing key industries, improving labor rights, and expanding educational institutions. He believed in empowering the common people and introduced the slogan Roti, Kapra or Makan. On the foreign front, Bhutto strengthened Pakistan's ties with Muslim countries and played a significant role in forming the Islamic Summit Conference of 1974. He also worked to bring Pakistan closer to China and Arab nations. One of Bhutto's most important contributions was initiating Pakistan's nuclear program. After India's nuclear test in 1974, Bhutto famously stated, "We will eat grass, but we will build the bomb." His leadership laid the foundation for Pakistan's future nuclear capability. Opposition parties accused him of authoritarian behavior, election controversies increased tensions, and protests erupted across the country. In 1977, General Zia-ul-Haq overthrew Bhutto's government in a military coup. Bhutto was later tried in a controversial court case and executed in 1979, a moment still debated in Pakistan's history. Despite the controversies, Bhutto is remembered as a bold leader who rebuilt Pakistan after a national crisis and set the direction for future growth.
General Zia-ul-Haq's role, beginning in 1977, marked one of the longest military regimes in Pakistan's history. Zia introduced a strict Islamic-oriented policy framework known as Islamization. His government implemented Sharia-based laws, established federal Sharia courts, and promoted Islamic banking and education reforms. These changes dramatically influenced Pakistan's social and political direction for decades to come. During Zia's era, Pakistan became a central player in global politics due to the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979. Millions of dollars in military and economic aid began flowing into Pakistan. This period also saw the rise of Afghan mujahideen, trained and supported through Pakistan's intelligence agencies. While this increased Pakistan's global importance, it also introduced long-term challenges such as extremism, weapons proliferation, and refugee crises. Economically, Pakistan experienced growth due to foreign aid and remittances from Pakistanis working in the Middle East. Yet political freedoms were limited, censorship increased, and opposition parties faced restrictions. Zia promised elections many times but delayed them repeatedly. In 1988, Zia-ul-Haq died in a mysterious plane crash along with several top military officials and the U.S. ambassador. His sudden death marked the end of an era that profoundly shaped Pakistan's internal and external policies. The country now stood at the edge of a new political transition as democracy returned after nearly a decade of military rule.
Pakistan's journey toward becoming a nuclear power is one of the most remarkable chapters in its history. The dream began under Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and became a national priority after India conducted its first nuclear test in 1974. Pakistan responded by launching a secret nuclear program led by Dr. Abdul Qadir Khan, a brilliant metallurgist who brought vital scientific knowledge to the country. Throughout the 1980s and early 1990s, Pakistan's scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to develop the nation's nuclear capability. The United States and other Western nations applied pressure on Pakistan to slow down or stop the program. But Pakistan's leadership remained determined, believing that nuclear capability was essential for national security, especially considering India's growing military strength. In May 1998, India conducted a series of nuclear tests known as Pokhran-2, once again challenging the strategic balance in South Asia. Pakistan could not remain silent. Just 17 days later, on the 28th of May 1998, Pakistan carried out 5 successful nuclear tests in the Rasko Hills of Chegai, Balochistan. The mountains turned white from the blast, and the world witnessed the birth of the first Muslim nuclear power. The country declared the 28th of May as Yawm Takbir, the Day of Greatness. The nuclear tests brought Pakistan pride, confidence, and global recognition. They also secured Pakistan's defense by establishing a powerful deterrence against external threats. Although the country faced international sanctions afterward, the nuclear achievement remains one of the most significant moments in Pakistan's history. General Pervez Musharraf took power in 1999 after a military coup, marking another major shift in Pakistan's political landscape. Musharraf introduced a reformist agenda focused on economic revival, media freedom, and modernization. His government opened private TV channels, expanded internet access, and encouraged IT growth across the country. These reforms transformed Pakistan's media landscape and empowered a new generation. Economically, Musharraf's early years witnessed strong GDP growth, major infrastructure projects, and increased foreign investment. Pakistan became one of the fastest-growing economies in Asia during this period. However, everything changed after the 9/11 attacks when the United States launched the War on Terror. This decision brought billions in economic aid but also increased tensions inside Pakistan. The war against terrorism resulted in violence, suicide bombings, and instability across the country. Despite the challenges, Musharraf continued pushing reforms, including changes in local government systems, women's rights, and economic policies. However, political opposition grew stronger over time, especially after the dismissal of the Chief Justice and media protests. The era remains debated, seen by some as a period of progress and modernization, and by others as a time of political controversy and security challenges. Pakistan is one of the most geographically diverse countries in the world. From the world's second highest peak, K2, to the deserts of Thar, from the fertile lands of Punjab to the rugged mountains of Balochistan, Pakistan's landscape is breathtaking. The mighty Indus River flows from the glaciers of the north through the entire country, giving life to its agriculture and civilizations. Pakistan's culture is a beautiful blend of languages, traditions, music, festivals, and hospitality. Punjab is known for its energy, food, and vibrant culture. Sindh for its Sufi traditions, Balochistan for its bravery and vast landscapes, and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa for its rich Pashtun heritage. Urdu serves as a national language, while Punjabi, Sindhi, Pashto, Balochi, Saraiki, and many regional languages reflect the country's diversity. Pakistan is also a land of ancient history. Sites like Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, Taxila, Makli Graveyard, and Takti-Bahi show its connection to ancient civilizations. Its cities Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, Peshawar, Quetta, and Multan are hubs of culture, trade, tourism, and education. Pakistan's cultural identity is built on unity, faith, family values, and hospitality. It is a nation rich in traditions, stories, and resilience.
Pakistan's history is a journey of struggle, sacrifice, resilience, and hope. From the dream of a separate homeland to the challenges of wars, political transitions, and economic crises, the Pakistani people have consistently shown strength and determination. Despite difficulties, Pakistan continues to rise. Its youth are among the most talented in the world, its armed forces are respected internationally, and its cultural identity is admired globally. Pakistan's future depends on unity, strong leadership, education, and innovation. With a young population, strategic geography, and rich natural resources, Pakistan has the potential to become a powerful and prosperous nation. The story of Pakistan teaches us that no challenge is too great if a nation stands united with faith, discipline, and hard work. The journey continues, and the future of Pakistan belongs to those who believe in its strength and strive to make it better every day.
Lately, Pakistan and India have been facing some of the toughest military tensions they've seen since the 1999 Kargil conflict. While they haven't gone into full-blown war, a bunch of incidents have brought these two nuclear-armed nations dangerously close to it. A major moment happened in 2016 when India claimed it carried out surgical strikes across the line of control. Pakistan strongly pushed back on that, arguing that India was just making it up for political gain. Despite all the media buzz, United Nations observers found no solid proof of any large-scale operations crossing the border. The situation really heated up in 2019 after the Pulwama attack in Indian-administered Kashmir, where over 40 Indian paramilitary soldiers lost their lives. India pointed the finger at Pakistan, but Pakistan denied any involvement. In retaliation, India conducted an airstrike in Balakot, claiming to hit a militant training camp. Pakistan struck back the next day with its own air operations, hitting targets in India but intentionally avoiding any casualties to keep things from escalating further. During this back and forth, Pakistan managed to shoot down two Indian fighter jets and captured one pilot, wing commander of Hind and Vardhaman. Pakistan later returned him as a peace gesture, which garnered a lot of international praise. This incident showcased Pakistan's military strength and restraint, and it became clear just how quickly things could escalate between these two nuclear powers. In the years that followed, there was an uptick in cross-border firing along the line of control, leading to civilian casualties on both sides. The global community kept urging both countries to talk things out, but political tensions, especially around Kashmir, continued to be a big hurdle. In August 2019, India took away the special status of Jammu and Kashmir by scrapping Article 370. Pakistan condemned this move, calling it a breach of international law and UN resolutions, while India insisted it was an internal issue. Despite all these issues, neither country has plunged into a full-scale war. Diplomatic efforts, international pressure, and the threat of nuclear retaliation have kept things in check. The recent events serve as a reminder that peace between Pakistan and India is crucial for stability in the region. While tensions still linger, both sides have occasionally entered ceasefire agreements, showing that conversation and diplomacy are still the best way to achieve lasting peace in South Asia.